Y'all, let me tell y'all how good God is. So, my daughter came over, and her baby daddy's family stay around the corner from me. And so she came over. She walked around here with my grandson and her baby daddy. And so she wanted to go somewhere else. So she said, "Mom, can you get me a lift?" And so I said, "Yeah, but you gotta clean up the bathroom. If I get you a lift, you gotta clean up the bathroom." Which it wasn't much to clean up. It was like 3 or 4 things, and to put the garbage. I took the garbage out of my bathroom, and so all she had to do was put the garbage bag in there and do a wipe down. And so, they came over. They sit for a minute, and I ended up getting them a lift. And I said, "Well, I want to go down there to that corner store real quick to grab me a couple things." And so I said, "Well, I'm gonna do the 3-way thing where they come here and then they can drop me off at the store, and then they can go ahead and take them where they going. I'll just walk back home because it's only down the street." And so I walked over to another store. So I got dropped off to that store, and it's a 7-Eleven right across the street from that. And so I walked across the street to 7-Eleven to put money onto one of my bank things. And so I came from over there. When I came from over there, like all the way walking across there, I was fine. But on the way back, somebody was called me to make sure I was getting home safely. They was trying to make it to me, but they were still at work. And I'm like, "No, don't worry about it. By the time you get over here, I'll be at home with my feet kicked up, right? It's only down the street." And so I end up, when on my way back, I'm walking. I said, "I'm going to go in the store." I see somebody, and they say, "Can you grab me something or whatever?" And they was like, "I'm not allowed to go in that store." And so I said, "You know what?" God said, "Go ahead and do it." And so I went on here and grabbed it. But when I was in there, I seen my grandson's grandfather walking in, right? He walked down there too. He stayed around the corner from me. And so this is how God worked out, right? When I hit that corner and that dude had asked me to go in there because he wasn't allowed to go in there, God had sent that person in right behind me, right? Because something in my spirit wasn't right. If something wasn't right about that. And so I said, but God told me, sometimes you got to do things a certain type of way because people don't be all the way good up in there, or people send them your way. And so I went on here and grabbed it. But he tried to hand me the money for it, I said, "No, I'll get it." And when I said that, I could see his face like, right? Like whoever been telling this news, whoever sent this person said something, right? And it had this person ready to go. And so when I said, "No, I'll get it. Don't worry about it." And I can't see their face. So I went on here and went out the store. When I went out the store, I told the person, my grandson's other granddad, I told him, like, I said, "Hand this to him real quick or whatever." Right? For one, it's a man. And so I didn't want to take no money from him. I really didn't want to hand him nothing. And so I'm like, oh my God, right? It's always going to work out in your favor. And then you have to be careful because what a coincidence that we are up under this type of full moon, right? And that this type of thing is coming towards me. A lot of times people be being sent in to exchange energy, right? And what better way to exchange energy than to try somebody hand you money and you hand them something. You see how God worked though? And so he came right on time. And so I told the guy, I said, "Could you hand this to him?" Right? And the dude was so in shock. You hear me? This is how God, let me tell. I can see he seen the shockness on that dude's face, and I seen the shockness on that dude's face. And so when we went to walk away, I told him, I said, "I don't like handing people stuff because of the exchange of energy, right?" He don't really get off into all that type of stuff. And so he said, "Well, I figured that you ain't want to hand him nothing because he was a man, He was like, "It's too late to be out here this late, right?" He said, then what's crazy, they don't know that you grown for real. He said, "You don't look like your age is no more than 19 years old, right?" He said, "You look young." He said, "Shit, you look younger than that." Right? And they always tell me like I looked younger than my daughter. He used to tease my daughter and say, "Who younger, your mama or you?" He said, "I think you the mama." He used to always joke. And so I said, "No, we just age backwards, right?" I said, "We look older when we younger, and as we get it's like the Benjamin Button syndrome." Y'all ever seen Benjamin Button? It's like when you get older, it's like the older you are, the younger you look, and the younger you are, the older you look. And I said, no, when she started getting older, she's going to start looking younger, right? And so I had sent him some pictures, showed him some pictures of me when I was younger, all over to now. He was like, you literally aged backwards. What type of witchery is this, right? We was laughing. And so I said, no, my whole family is like that. I said, and we get like gray hairs really early. Like my uncle, he looked older when he was younger. But what's so crazy, when he began to age, he was already like fully gray in his 20s. Like his hair, like that silver, what they call it, silver fox, like that color, his beard and all that, but his face looked like a baby. It's freaking weird. And so, we went on ahead and kept walking, and we went into different topics, right? As we was walking, it was like 4 people had slowed down. They didn't even care that I was with a man. Like 4 men had slowed down and was like looking, they on a hunt. And so what's crazy is here in my city where I'm from, is that it's been like little weird stuff that's been going on in our city. And one of the things that just happened recently is that they said that 2 little girls was playing in their backyard or somewhere, and somebody had snatched them. It's a lot of snatching going on, a lot of snatching the kids going on. So watch our babies even in your backyards if it's not like closed off. And so he was saying like, you ain't been hear about what's going on. And I said, yeah, somebody just told me. I said, but I really don't be living in that world, because sometimes you can manifest things, you know. And so I said, you know, I've been going in Walmart, and it's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in Walmart. And he was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, right. It's a lot of trafficking going on. We never had to worry about that type of stuff here. And it's almost like this stuff is like government setup, right? This ain't just like no regular pedophilia type of stuff. It's like they are targeting certain types of people to come and play these type of games with. I'm not she. And so the last couple of times I've been getting went in Walmart, it has been in my city. It's been some weird stuff going on. It was a guy who walked up to me. He was like, oh, do you know where, I'm not from here. Do you know where the meat is and all this stuff? And I'm like, what? And when you turn around, like the meat sign is right there. He was like, is it set up like all the other Walmarts? I said, hey, you got to go ask one of the workers. I don't work here, right? And he kept going, and so I backed up, but he didn't know I was in there with nobody, and I was in there with an OG, and she turned around and went off on him. Like, get the back the F up, whoopty whoopty whoop, right? And I just busted out laughing at him, like, woo. And so he was in there with a girl, and he was like, yeah, that's my wife, and something. But she knew that we knew what they was doing. And so she tried to come back around and was like, girl, that's not my husband. He need to go back to his baby mama and something. Like, she was trying to make us do the sister move with her. Like, girl, you feel me, girl? No, get the fuck out of our face. She was trying to come off like that, but she knew that we knew that it wasn't right. And so she tried to come back around the bend. No, get away from us. And so he kept walking up to us. That's a whole nother story. I don't feel like going up to that. It got to the point where I had to go alert the store workers. But what was crazy is they tried to take it lightly, and the guy tried to come to me and say, yeah, I'm going to walk you out. Because I said, I'm going to go get that big black dude right there to walk me out this late, right? And so when I said that, she went and got like the floor walker. And he walked up to me and asked me what was going on. I told him, and he said, who was they to each other? And I said, what you mean? He was like, who was they? Was they mama? And son? I said, oh, they said they was husband and wife. He said, yeah, I just had to drive 2 young girls home yesterday because they felt uncomfortable, but they was like niece and, like nephew and auntie or something like that. And so I'm just telling y'all need to watch our babies, man. Watch our kids in these stores. Don't let them go roaming off, like, period. And so it happened again in another store I was in. And so, but mainly at Walmart, this type of weird behavior, I've been noticing at these Walmarts, right? It's like a different portal, something that happened. And I knew that the Walmart people was in. Y'all need to just pay attention to your babies and don't let them walk into no stores and stuff by themselves. And so anyways, when I was leaving out, it's just crazy to me how God would send somebody every single time that I moved around. I had to move around late night on my own. God always sent somebody in, like people that's not scared of nothing. And so it just was crazy to me that I went to walk home, and I was like, okay, let me roll. You know, I'm on a mission. You know, it's not like how back in the days I was telling him, I said he walked me all the way home, and then he went on here and walked around the corner to his house. And I was telling him, I said, man, the times have certainly changed. I said, man, I remember when we was kids, we used to walk from here to there to there to here. We used to get on the iron pimp. You know, I said, we ain't had to watch our backs like that. You know, from all the way across town, you had, your granny had a friend that had a friend that had a friend, and everybody on the block made sure you got home and made sure to call your granny while they seen you and didn't say nothing to you. They came and looked out that window. You know, you knew what time it was. Don't let me go and get on home. She about to snitch. She about to call granny. You know, she about to call mama. Right? All the way from, I said, we used to walk everywhere and never had to watch our backs like that. You know, everybody had each other backs. This time frame, people worry about their own kids. They too scary. Everybody a thug. Everybody a gangster. Everybody sticking out their chest, but everybody scared. Like, what the fuck going on? You know, it's a... And we was talking about the book of Revelations and stuff. He said, man, I believe in all this stuff. And I said, but we already living in it. We already living in the end. We already living in the book of Revelations. You know, I said, the speakers that speaking about certain things, I said, then they keep setting out these dummy traps, you know, to scare everybody. I said, but we already living in the time, so they can cut the crap. It's certain prophecies that has to be fulfilled. I said, but then they staging some of the prophecy. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't know what to believe. But all I can say is, you better get right with God. You better get right with God, right? I'm not trying to scare nobody into religion, scare nobody into spirituality. I'm not scaring nobody to do nothing. But all I'm saying is just align yourself. Do the right thing, what you feel is right, right? And so, and watch our babies walking out here. You know, God will align you to where you're going to be watched and taken care of, right? Look how that just played out. I was on my way, merry way to mind my own business, keep it moving. And as soon as I hit that corner, I had a demon standing right there on his full moon, trying to exchange energy. And then when I was he walking with me. This person stopped their freaking car and would slow their car down and would started staring at me and him. And he like, what the hell? You know, what the hell really going on, right? He like, these people out of control. He said, the nightlife is different, right? I said, hell yeah. I said, he disrespectful. He said he didn't care. He wouldn't snatch you while we together. I said, but he didn't know that his heart was gonna stop, right? He wasn't gonna live to tell the story. I was though. I'm not playing like that, right? I'm not big, bad, and mean, but I do if you bleed the same way as me, right? And so that's all that means. That's all I'm saying. You know, you kids and all, y'all better put up a fight. I'm not screaming. I'm not screaming at all. I got to save my energy to whoop your ass. I'm uppercutting and everything. Nigga, it's going to be a boxing match out there. Somebody going to pull out their phone. That motherfucker would have got out their car to try to take me, right? I would have turned around and told that motherfucker I got a set of skills. I got a set of skills. That's called the Most High God and Archangel Michael. And I'm going to call on Archangel Michael to enter my being to slay you. I would have whooped his ass like a true boxing expert. Nigga, we about to square up. We squaring up. Nigga, they wouldn't even have knew that I was about to get taken because I would have squared up with him and they would have thought it was a real fight. That I would have whooped his ass out there and called on God to give me the power and might of the Thor hammer in my fist to knock that nigga out. Flat out. And so, that's all I'm saying. With a cigarette in my mouth. And I wouldn't have dropped that motherfucker. You got me bent. You got me bent. Y'all better start telling y'all kids, forget being scared. That point, your life is at stake and it's in danger. And you better bite balls. Head, shoulder, knees, toes. Take them down. This and that, man. They ain't come up with that show. Head, shoulder, knees, and toes. Knees and toes. Head, shoulder, knees, and toes. Head, bop, shoulders, whop. Knees, cock, and toes. Stomp them. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Knees and toes. Teach your kid head, shoulders, throat, knees, toes, and balls. Period. That's all I'm saying. And so y'all have a blessed one. I'm getting on up off here because they out here rocking and they crazy. Right? Pray over your babies. Flat out. Pray over them and teach them head, shoulder, knees, and toes. Knees and toes. Throat. Throat. Karate chopping dead in the throat. Period. They out here wilding. They on the loose. But we are too. In the name of Jesus. Tell your kids to call on Jesus. Call on them ancestors. Kick them in the upper. Look. That's all I'm saying. I told my daughter fight. All type of dirty. What? Hang off that motherfucker like it's a. I'm gonna swing from the chandelier. Chandelier. We bring up chandelier. He do take them off. Take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Anything that's vulnerable, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, all private areas, take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Remember I said head, shoulder, knees and toes. Period. Y'all have a blessed one. I got to get up off here because they done worked me up.